All right, so Jason Rickards for 8 likes says, can you say more about what you mean when you say that we are living in the myth created by the events of World War II? What is the underlying story here? Well, I mean, everything about our world is based on World War II. Like the entire geopolitical world is based on World War II right now. And the events of World War II. And we can see everything that's good about our world is based on World War II. And also, a lot of the things that are evil about our world, in some ways, are, you could call, the hidden sins of World War II. You could say it's something like that. But, everything, like I said, everything we understand, like the borders of all the countries are based on, World War II, and the fact that we have this Eastern Bloc falling in the 90s, it's also based on World War II. Like all that is all based on World War II. So, and then in terms of the more kind of dramatic aspect, so the way that we understand, for example, like for all intents and purposes, Hitler is the devil for our world. Like he represents everything that we think is evil. We tend, if you're going to ask people who they think is the most evil man ever, they'll say Hitler. Hitler has become a Satan for all intents and purposes. He has been transformed by mythological thinking into the equivalent of a demon with pitchfork and pointy tail, and it's like that image of the man with the little square mustache is the equivalent of a devil. That's why people call Trump Hitler. Like they call Trump Hitler because that's the thing. It's like saying that he's the devil. It's like saying the worst thing, saying that he's the worst thing. And every one of our wars that has preceded World War II is based on World War II and the decisions that were made in that war. So the idea of, that Churchill wanted to take on Germany before Germany attacked them explicitly, like that we had to get involved in a war that wasn't directly related to us, like that wasn't, that we had to kind of go in and stop the tyrant, because if we didn't stop the tyrant, then there would be hell to pay later. And that all of that is what justified every single one of the wars since then. The Vietnam War, the Afghanistan War, the first Afghanistan War, the Iraq War, etc., the Korean War, all of the wars that the Americans have been involved in, that type of thinking has been used in order to get. So it's like everything about our world is based on World War II. It's funny that, like, it seems to me like just saying that everybody would know, like would just say right away. But see, the thing is that there are sins hidden in the myth. There's like our secret things that we don't realize, and those are coming to the fore because the side effects of those sins are playing out. So, like a simple example, and you many of you maybe have thought of this before. The simple example is that we say, that we won the war, right? That the Allies won the war, that it was a good versus evil thing, and it was good that we fought the Nazis and beat them, and and then we won. And then what we don't say, and people rarely say, is that in order to win, we also made a deal with a great devil, that we shook hands with Stalin, that we allied ourselves with one of the greatest evils also that has ever existed. And that when the war ended, we handed half of Europe to a devil. And so that's the thing we don't say. We don't say because we don't have room in our mind in the kind of mythological thinking. We don't have room for the complexity that it would take to be able to see that both of them are evils. And so because of that, we always have a soft spot for communism, no matter what. America and Europe has a soft spot for communism. Because we allied, because we can't, because we made a deal with them in World War II, and because we gave half of Europe to them, but we keep that as a kind of weird secret. We can't oppose them in the same way that we oppose Hitler. And so that's playing out. That sin is playing itself out now. and then there are people that are trying to poke at that, and they're trying to poke at it in ways that is often very irresponsible and dangerous. They're trying to poke at it in ways that are, because they see they see the power that the myth has on us, and they're trying to kind of shake us out of it. But yeah, I don't see a solution, not an easy one, because at some point, as the people who lived during World War II die, at some point the grasp, the grip that it has on us is going to start to fade. Yeah, and it's hard to know what's going to happen after that. So, and there's also the idea of the human sacrifice part of it. The end of, we tell ourselves that the dropping two nuclear weapons on Japanese cities was a justified thing to do. But it's like, maybe it was, but also maybe human sacrifice is something people have always justified for themselves. Like the idea that we need to kill these people, innocent people that are civilians, for the greater good, in order to save more people in the future. And that also, that taboo, right, of what we did in order to win the war is also part of the sacred element of the war. And the same with the Holocaust. Like if you look at the Holocaust, it's treated as a sacred thing. There are all these taboos about it. You can't do anything. Like you can't, if you question any aspect of it, like you will be run out of town. You are a heretic if you question any aspect of it. It's a sacred event. It's even called Holocaust, which means a sacrifice. Like we call it a sacrifice, to God. Like that's what we call it. It's hard to understand. There's something completely paradoxical about it. But the fact that we even call it a sacrifice, shows you how deep it is in our imagination. So